Hi everyone! In today's video I'm going to be doing the long-awaited, or at least for me, long-awaited UV resin starter kit video, and this will also be a good guide for those who are new to UV resin as well, and for those who purchased the UV resin starter kit from me. This video will show you how to make your first projects using the supplies in that kit. So the kit might come in a slightly different outer box, but it will come with this brochure that will go over all the supplies that are included, as well as how to make your first few projects. And then it will also come with most of the supplies housed in this storage container, which I think is really handy. And then it comes with a few supplies that didn't fit inside the storage container, so I'll go over everything now. So here's everything that's included. Did you get all that? I hope you did. Just kidding. Here's everything that's included in a more detailed look. So first we have this bottle of UV resin, and this is 100 grams. And this is a lot of UV resin. It'll last you quite a few projects, so that's why I included a larger size, especially for beginners to play around with and have enough material. We have these two colored UV resin, and these come out colored from the bottle, and so you don't have to mix in colorant to your clear UV resin. So there is a blue and a pink, and 10 grams each. Next we have this UV lamp, and this is what's used to harden the UV resin, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So the rest of the items are going to be in that storage container, and so the first item is this clear film, and it comes with a couple different designs as well as a bunch of words that you can add to your projects. We also have this roll of tape, and you might think, a roll of tape, what's special about that? Well, let me tell you, this roll of tape is special because it is transparent, it is thin, and it doesn't leave residue on your projects. So it is perfect for UV resin, and in particular for UV resin bezels. We have this silicone mixing cup used to mix in glitter or colorant into your UV resin. We have this 3-piece set, and it's really pretty. They all have gems on the top, but there is a needle tool, a paddle tool, and a little spoon. We have a couple different molds, and these are all silicone clear molds, and one is a tag mold, and it also has a hole so you can make it into jewelry or keychains. And then we have a sakura or cherry blossom mold as well. For findings, we have a star keychain as well as a gold lobster keychain, and then I also have this little baggie of jump rings. There are 100 gold jump rings in that bag. We have what I would describe as embellishments, and I have this little jar of gold embellishments in different shapes, as well as a jar of glitter in different shapes. This is a UV torch, which is another way of curing UV resin, which I'll show you in just a second. And finally, we have the open bezels. So there will be 2 black acrylic bezels that you have to remove the tape, the protective tape that's on both sides before you start working on it. And then there's also this gold circle bezel that I included these clear inserts that you can use to turn it into a shaker charm. And then there is a small wand bezel as well. And another item I highly recommend, but I didn't want to mess with shipping and getting in trouble, is a lighter. And of course, resin is a project that you should only do if you're an adult or you have adult supervision. It's not meant for kids. And so, yeah, but this is really handy for popping bubbles. Alright guys, for our first tutorial, we're going to be fixing this pair of sunglasses that I broke. Yep. Is that really what we're doing? Yep, that's really what we're going to do. But I'm going to use this opportunity to also talk a little bit about UV resin, what it is, kind of some best practices and that sort of thing. So let's get into it. So I plan on doing a video on 2-part resin as well, and I think I'm kind of doing it backwards because I think most people start off with 2-part resin and then move into UV resin, because UV resin is more expensive, but it dries a heck of a lot faster. Sorry, it cures a heck of a lot faster, and it's also 1 part, so you don't have to mix 2 parts up together, so it's like ready to go right from the bottle. So once you take it out of the bottle, or once you squeeze it out of the bottle, it's this clear liquid, and if you put UV light or you expose it to UV rays, it will harden and cure. And so a lot of crafters use it to make cute charms, to make jewelry. It also can be used as a glaze for like polymer clay or air dry clay. I use it a lot to fix things, and I even use it a lot to fix like broken polymer clay charms if like an appendage snapped off or something on my charm. And for non-crafters, they might have heard of or seen UV resin in the past because it's also used as like a windshield repair material. I'm not sure if that's like just a temporary fix, but I know that it's sold as a kit to fix your windshield like cracks or dings. And it's also used in different manufacturing processes as well, is what I found out. So besides being more expensive, there are a few other drawbacks to using UV resin versus regular resin. One being that it won't really cure properly if you apply it in a thicker layer. So if you want to do like a really thick layer project, something like more boxy or something, then you're better off using resin, not only because you'll save a lot of money, but because it cures better, and it's like you'll have a better experience, trust me. So that's why for UV resin, most of the things people make are smaller, so like smaller jewelry, smaller little keychains. They'll use it to fill bezels like we're going to do in this video, and that sort of thing. So now that I'm done fixing my sunglasses, let's get into the actual projects. So for this first project, we're going to start with the easiest, in my opinion, project, and this is the open bezel. And so we're going to take just a little bit of that tape, and then we're going to make sure that the open part of the bezel is taped securely to the piece of tape. Tape, 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 tape. So I'm just going to squeeze out some UV resin, some clear UV resin, some of the colored UV resin, and just kind of color it. It's kind of like a coloring book, which is really fun. Making bezels is really relaxing. It's really hard to mess them up. I mean, if you mess them up, don't feel bad, but it's really relaxing. And I also have another video where I make some more UV resin bezels, so I recommend watching that one as well. Then I go in with my spoon and then sometimes my needle tool to pick up the glitter, and then I just kind of like add it around. And then I also will look if I want to add any of the metal embellishments, and so I added some of those as well. So now comes the curing process, and so for this one I'm going to be using my UV torch, and I put in AAA batteries, AAA batteries, and then you just turn it on and it'll produce like this ray, UV light, and then you put it on top of the piece, and then it cures relatively quickly. This only took probably about a minute to cure, and I like using UV torches for projects that take not that much time to cure, such as this bezel because the layers are really thin, and such as the project the quote project of fixing my sunglasses, because using a torch you can like kind of like maneuver and really get into like if you're doing like a fixing project, if that makes sense, and it can like it's a really quick fix, so like you don't have to keep holding it. And does that make sense? I hope so. So after you finish adding all the embellishments, curing all your layers of UV resin, you're left with this really pretty charm, and it kind of has that like stained glass look to it, and you can turn it into a necklace, or you can also turn it into a keychain. Yeah, whatever you'd like. Alright, so for the next project and the project after, we're going to be using silicone molds, and so this time we're going to use that tag shaped mold. So I start out with a base layer of the clear UV resin, and then I use that lighter that I showed you earlier. This one is a slightly different style, but I use it and I flick the flame over it for just a little bit to pop the bubbles, but do not do it for that long because I have done that before and it actually will kind of like burn your resin. Yeah, it's strange. Just do it for a second, please. So I use the paddle tool and the needle tool to kind of move around the resin, just to make sure that it goes all the way to the sides. You want to make sure to hit all the sides so that it like covers the entire area. So in this project, I'm going to be curing it using the UV lamp, and this is cool for projects that fit under the lamp. and ones that might take a little bit more time to cure. And it also is a USB plug, so you don't have to use batteries. So yeah, I just set it up on its stands, and then I put the project underneath, and then I leave it for a minute, and it comes with a minute and a 30-second timer. So now I'm going to add a dried blue bonnet. Bonus points if you know what blue bonnets are. Yeah, I dried this myself, and a flower drying video is coming soon, I promise. But anyway, I'm just kind of like figuring out what's going to fit in the mold, and then cutting things to fit inside the mold, and then I'm placing it on top of that first layer that we cured already. And then once I have the placement the way I want it, I'm just going to add another layer of the clear UV resin, use the torch briefly to clear the bubbles, and I was particularly worried that I was going to burn the flower, but I just did it really quickly. It seemed to be fine. I don't know if you want to trust me on that. But anyway, after you cure that layer, you're pretty much done. Yeah. You're left with this really cool tag with like a preserved specimen, and you can turn it into a keychain. I'm going to make mine into a keychain and bring it to work. All my fellow Texans are going to be super jealous. But yeah, so that is the tag project. So now let's move on to the Sakura project. So I already laid down a layer of the resin, and then now I'm choosing out which words I want from that clear film, and I'm going to add it to the resin before I cure the first layer. So I decided to use the word kawaii as well as the hiragana for kawaii, and hiragana is a Japanese alphabet more or less. There's hiragana, katakana, and kanji. If you're interested in Japanese language, this one is hiragana and it says kawaii. And if you don't know what kawaii means, why are you watching this video? I'm just joking, mostly joking. But kawaii just means cute. And don't say kawaii because that means scary. So yeah, kawaii means cute, kawaii means scary. So after I have the words placed the way I want them, I'm adding some glitter using that mini spoon tool, which is really cute. And then I'm also adding more clear resin, and to add a little spark, a little spice, I'm adding a little bit of the pink resin, and I'm kind of like outlining the edges of the sakura mold. Yeah, and then curing all of that. So for these finished sakuras, you can turn it into a keychain. I also attached it to a ribbon, and I think I'm also going to be using it in a future project for Kawaii Craft Kits, and I'm going to put it on a phone grippy, and you can also use it in Decodin and lots of different things. So I think this is a very versatile mold and very appropriate for my box, if I say so myself. So that wraps it up for now. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. You can also email me. I'm the one that answers all the emails. My name is Liz, and that is kawaiicraftkits@gmail.com. I'll have that in the description too. And I'll also include links to my other related videos on UV resin, as well as blog posts and information on how to buy this kit, information on the subscription box, etc., so on and so forth. So yeah, that's all. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.